Friday means Yahoo specific strategy show, and we got the full band back together again. Myself, Jake Hari, the boss man, Alex Baker. What's going on, guys?
Nothing, man. It's 13 game slate, so a lot to talk about. I think we're gonna have one pretty chalky team, so excited to talk some Yahoo today.
Alex, what's new with you?
Not much, man. It seems like there's some aggressive chalk on tonight's slate, as we were kind of talking about, and it's gonna be really interesting. Like trying to decide whether you're gonna eat that chalk or if you're gonna maybe go a little more contrarian.
Yeah, evidently it's pretty easy to get to a raise stack, which we're finding out right now. We will cross that bridge as we come to it. First, let's get the plugs out of the way, or the plug. We are brought to you on the Yahoo Strategy Show. Surprise, surprise here. We're brought to you by Yahoo Sports. They are the presenting sponsor of a few of our shows, and we're happy to do this specific show every Friday. I have dropped the link into chat right now for Emacs Yahoo specific article. He talks about stacks and players, pitchers. There's some information at the top of the article that will give you some instructions on how to sign up at Yahoo. If you use those instructions, use the promo code AWESOMO, you can get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. That could help you get entries into their no management fee contest, which runs every single day, or $3 to get in, 10 max. You're not battling 150 different lineups. They've got an incredible no management fee contest going for week 1 of the NFL season. It's really basically one of the only pieces of NFL that I want to have a part of come week 1 NFL Sunday. It's just a great contest, so I can't imagine not wanting to play it. And I talked about it a little bit earlier on our general strategy show. We got a little bit of news to announce. Yahoo has a partnership with the NFL, and if you have the Yahoo Fantasy app on your phone, you can stream live, local, and national NFL games, regardless of who your phone carrier is. As long as you have the app, through that app, you can stream any of the national TV games and your local games completely free through the app, which is a really, really awesome deal, and it's fun to be able to talk about something like that because I don't think that knowledge is out there all that much.
Yeah, that sounds pretty rad, man. What's the catch?
I don't think there is a catch. I think Yahoo's just pretty awesome.
Hopefully no catch.
So I will certainly be streaming games off of that because I won't be paying for Red Zone. I will be watching a lot of Carolina Panthers if I had to guess. They are the predominant team in my neck of the woods. Jake, I guess you'd be getting a lot of Vikes.
Yeah, a lot of Vikes. I don't know. I have all the packages. They just get charged just because I sign up for everything and forget to cancel it. So see, might not have to pay for at least some of the stuff that I'm usually paying for if Yahoo is going to be giving us some games for free.
A lot of the Bears for you this year, Alex, using that app.
Yeah. I mean, my usual Sunday ritual is I'll watch like 30 minutes of Red Zone, the first 30 minutes, and then I'll be like, oh my God, none of my guys have touchdowns yet, and then I'll slam the laptop. And so over the course of 16 weeks, I'll probably watch like 8 hours.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
I know the feeling, too. It's NFL's a tough sweat. If you don't have the first 2 or 3 touchdowns, it immediately deflates your entire balloon. Just
Yeah.
for no reason either. Like we know better. There's 3 hours worth of games in the first set at 1 o'clock, but if you don't have the first touchdown, you just feel like you're dead in the water.
Yeah, just watch Slack. It'll be onto the afternoon only or the turbo.
Yeah,
one of my favorite things.
Yeah, Slack is not really the best place to be if you're trying to sweat anything. Who's like DeGrom tonight? If you've got DeGrom and Ronald Acuna leads off with a single, DeGrom dead is going to get said by like 10 separate people.
Yeah, that's why Slack's the best.
He could reach on an error and it's just like DeGrom's dead.
Yeah.
No Acuna, no cash.
Gotta have everything.
It's so brutal. It's so brutal.
Is this a preview of tonight, man? Because I think I might have some DeGrom.
I think I might have some DeGrom as well. Lots of good pitching at the top. And I think it's about that time for us to talk about it.
Do you think that Acuna is going to lead off with a single? I guess that should be the first question.
I don't know. What can I get on that prop? I could probably bet on that if I wanted to.
That's probably yeah.
I don't expect to have the Braves, so I hope not. But I would much rather he lead off with a strikeout. Sorry, Atlanta Braves. I did wear your hat while I cut the grass today, so I represented a little bit.
Yeah, Emacs says no hat Friday. I'm assuming he's referring to you, Josh.
Oh yeah, no hat Friday. I've got a party to go to post live before lock, and if I would have put a hat on now, then I would have had to wear a hat all day. No saving the hair, so I'm dressed like a big boy right now, actually, instead of the normal way that I'm dressed with a generic sports T-shirt or a cat that flips you the bird or something.
Man, you guys are making me feel jealous with like your long flowing locks, though.
Yeah, I'll trade you my hair for your 6 seats.
Yeah, I'd take one actually.
How's that?
You could have mine for one.
That seems like a fair trade. Okay, lots of pitching today. We have 6 guys in double figures in ownership as of right now: Lance Lynn, Jake DeGrom, Jose Barrios, Jack Flaherty, Vince Velasquez, James Paxton. So at the very least, we're going to start there. And Jake, I'm going to throw it to you out of the gate. Who's the guy that stands out most to you?
I think DeGrom, even if he gives up a leadoff single, I mean a $51 price tag here for DeGrom, I think is pretty favorable. First time that I can remember in a while that we haven't seen him as the highest priced pitcher on the slate.
I'm really surprised by it too, but I guess that's just Braves respect.
Yeah, the matchup against Atlanta, like from a power perspective, they're pretty good, especially at the top. They're not as bad of a strikeout matchup though, at least lately. And you've got the pitcher spot in there, of course, which Alex always likes to mention. So I don't know. There's nothing that I'm seeing wrong with DeGrom here. And I think that's one of the better prices around the industry that you're going to find for him tonight.
Alex, is DeGrom the number one pitcher on the slate?
I think so. I mean, like $51, like that's a pretty nice price tag for an elite pitcher. The matchup isn't ideal versus Atlanta, but I think that that pitcher slot is going to be pretty relevant tonight because since he's the home pitcher, the away team's probably going to roll out their pitcher in the 5th inning, so that's 2 at-bats. And Foldenevich has a 57% strikeout rate when he's at bat. So even if the rest of the lineup isn't like extremely favorable, like that's a huge boost compared to an average pitcher.
I have a hard time seeing anybody other than Jake DeGrom as the number one starter today. I'm surprised that he's not the most expensive starter. He's certainly the most talented starter. Mm-hmm. The ownership doesn't really like put me off or anything. I mean, it changes strategy in draft or in GPPs. But in a cash game, I would imagine Jake DeGrom is going to be our go-to. Do we like Lance Lynn for $2 more?
I'm getting to him in some of my GPP builds on Cruncher, so I guess it's not quite as absurd as it sounds. But anytime you have a guy facing the White Sox, like that's pretty appealing.
Yeah, we've got a lot of fantastic matchups out there today with Lance Lynn against the White Sox, Barrios gets the Tigers, Jack Flaherty gets the Rockies, Vince Velasquez gets the Marlins in Miami. Those are basically the 4 best you can get on a given day. If it's not DeGrom for you right now, Jake, who is the second best option on this slate?
I like the Lynn call. I also like Barrios against
Homer.
Detroit. Yeah, not even my team, but I mean, we know Detroit's a favorable matchup for any righty pitcher basically the whole season. You look at where they're at right now. I'm trying to see what their K rate's at.
Detroit? Call it 27?
27.9 on their active roster. So might go up a percentage point or 2 or down depending on which lineup they actually roll out. But going to be favorable here for Barrios. He hasn't been great in the strikeout department all season. So a little bit disappointing, I think, for the most part. But he's still a very good real life pitcher, and we've got a favorable projection on him in your projections, Alex. So really like him as a little bit of savings off of Lance Lynn.
Alex, Jack Flaherty, $5 cheaper than Berrios. Slightly less good from a matchup perspective, but the Rockies are also not exactly great outside of Colorado. Haven't been showing a ton. How do you feel about Flaherty here? He is right now the second most owned pitcher on Yahoo.
Well, the crazy thing is, if you look at just the lines of every game, the Rockies have the lowest team total across the whole slate versus Flaherty, lower than Detroit versus Barrios and Atlanta versus DeGrom. So, like, I guess Vegas is really giving Flaherty a ton of credit here. The only negative is that the Rockies lineup isn't like especially good for strikeouts. I have their projected lineup being about 10% less than your average team, and I think the price tag is really nice. So $42 for Flaherty, given that he is in such a good spot versus a Colorado team that I guess as you're saying, like their stats look good because they play in Coors half the time, but really not a very strong lineup.
We take one more step down to the $36 spot. Vince Velasquez and James Paxton, both $36, both in double digits in ownership. But from what I'm looking at on the screen at your projections, Alex, this isn't much of a contest. It's Vince Velasquez by a mile.
Compared to
James Paxton.
Oh, yeah. Let me pull my game up here.
It's a 2-point. Yeah.
The Yankees are playing West Coast, so man, that's been frustrating. They never put out their lineups before lock these days, but
not fun.
So Paxton versus Dodgers. I mean, Dodgers are one of the best offenses in the league. You like the park, but and the price of $36, so that would fall more under GPP territory for me, given that Flaherty and Barrios have so much better matchups. Although, like as far as quality of pitcher, like it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
And then Velasquez versus Miami, versus Miami says it all. It doesn't even matter like what comes before that.
It's so true. I would probably play a starter blind against Miami if you just told me the price. I wouldn't even have to know the name, and it'd just be like, okay, 62. Yeah, I can do like 15% of whoever this is, because Miami's not going. The chances of Miami rolling out a lineup that is better than whatever the pitcher is pretty difficult.
Well, Vegas is actually giving him a 4-team total today, so maybe this could be a day where they have some success. But you gotta like the price tag of 36. It looks like Yahoo didn't adjust it at all for the matchup, and Velasquez has 25% Ks on the year, so that should be pretty nice for fantasy.
Jake, is there anybody standing out to you below this $36 level where we don't have anybody in double digits of ownership?
Not really. Like Paddock, difficult, or I guess below 36. You said below Paxton. Let's see. The one guy I got to that I actually really dislike is Lester, just because he's $32. He's probably better than a $32 pitcher here, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry. That's on the early side. I forgot to exclude that game.
Dude, you said Lester, and it took me a while, like basically until you caught it. One, I was just like, I don't remember ever talking about the Cubs today. Two, I was like, oh, did he get waived? And like, is he somewhere else? I was like, wait, why would the Cubs waive Lester now?
Sometimes I
had all of that in my head.
Yeah. No.
So, I think he's a good play on the all-day slate, though.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely think about him.
Yeah, so he's a good value on the all-day slate. I must have forgot to select the filter in FC.
Yeah. Do you have somebody that you like below $36 that is actually playing on this slate?
Well, you didn't specify the slate, so
my bad. I don't need your picks for Saturday.
Yeah, I've got mine for next Tuesday already locked in. But how about Mitch Keller for $26?
Adam's boy.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of discussion between you guys and the YouTube chat on this morning's show. I mean, for $26, like this is just a really talented player against Cincinnati, kind of a middling total for what we see in today's game, and a decently favorable park in Pittsburgh. I think it's been playing favorable to one side or the other. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
righty power dies in Pittsburgh. Lefty power is neutral.
Okay. I mean, it's going to be a pretty balanced lineup. You obviously get that pitcher spot with Desclafani. Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to take a shot on him for sure. I don't know that you need him in cash games. I don't think we're going to need to get all the way down there, but in tournaments, for sure, out of my 10 lineups, I would have him in a couple, I think.
Alex, thoughts on Mitch Keller and GPPs?
I had the most tilting experience a couple weeks ago. Like Mitch Keller and Merrill Kelly, for some reason, they're always on the same slate. And on Yahoo, this particular day, they were the same price, $26. And Mitch Keller, he had like a good matchup. Merrill Kelly was playing on the road versus the Rockies. And I accidentally clicked the wrong one in all my cash lineups. That was not fun.
Yikes.
Yeah, the old MK is probably really difficult to like notice if you're just trying to move quickly.
Yeah. Today, I think I prefer Keller to Merrill Kelly again.
Sure.
Make sure not to make that mistake.
Are you surprised at all by the fact that we only have him projected for 3% ownership, or is that just sort of a function of the fact that we don't have that $60 starter at the top? We're capped out at Lynn at 53.
Yeah, I think that it's just too easy to build your roster today. Like there might not be like a huge reason to go to a $26 guy. But on Yahoo time and again, we see that some of the best stacks are really, really expensive. So if you want to get like your stack of the top team on the slate, which looks like today, maybe Tampa Bay, but they're pretty easy to get to.
Evidently.
But Minnesota is usually like priced pretty high. Houston. So if you want to build a lineup with one of those teams, then going to a guy like Keller makes sense.
Yeah,
perfect.
I think I agree with that. Like looking at Houston's pricing, yeah, they've got a bunch of guys that are expensive, but they've also got like it's doable today, whereas the last few days it really hasn't been as doable. So that would be the spot where you're looking for a super cheap guy like Keller. But other than that, if we're stacking a team that's not very priced up, we're going to be able to get two of the high quality arms, I think, for the most part.
Perfect time for everybody to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Coming up 4:45 Eastern time, myself and Adam are running it back, deeper dive, breaking down all 13 games once again. And then immediately following that, Jake and Chris, live before lock from 6 to 7, closing out the work week. You guys ready to build a cash lineup?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it. I have run some dummy crunches in the background. I think we all have done that at this point. So let's start putting it together. I can't imagine we're going anywhere other than Jake DeGrom, but I'm willing to take some suggestions otherwise.
Ooh. The optimal I had, well, DeGrom was in a lot of them. Like I ran 20. Oh, no. I did have DeGrom in there in like the optimal that I was running. So I don't know. Do you have a different take at all, Alex?
Yeah, he should have been like 99% of my cash crunch.
Yep. Well, that makes it easy. Jake DeGrom, come on down. You're the first cash pitcher. Do we have an obvious second option? Based on the way that ownership is coming out and sort of the clustered tiers that we have, I would say that the second pitcher could probably be filled in later to find out if we actually need it. But if anybody actually stands out to either one of you, I'm happy to just jam them in now.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're going to have options.
I agree as well. So Yahoo pricing has changed a lot as we've been doing these shows. I would say that in late June, early July, we were getting constant, incredible value in that 7 to 11 range. They seem to have slammed that door shut more often than not now, but I have not looked. This is the first I'm looking at just the individual pricing in relationship to our projections. So I've got your projections loaded. I'm sorted from top to bottom. And again, on my screen, I can see like 30 players from in descending order of projected points. Not a single one of them in single digits in salary. But the first guy that I see that kind of stands out from a price perspective is Rhys Hoskins at $14. But is Jesus Aguilar a better option at 10? I'm not entirely sure. So let's get started. Jake, give me the first cash play that we're jamming into one of these lineups.
All right. I think we got to go with the Ray here. Maybe okay. There's like a couple guys at each position. When I was filling out the cheat sheets today, it was difficult because depending on how you want to build, you can take an expensive guy or mid-tier guy or a cheap guy, basically every position in cash. So I don't know. I like Narvaez at $7. Or I'm sorry, not a Ray, but take care of catcher. I like Narvaez at $7.
I'm a little nervous about that one.
You have.
Not that I have a problem with Narvaez at 7. I think he's a fantastic value. I wouldn't want to close myself off to Grandal, but the gap between Grandal and Narvaez and Alex's projection is only 1.1. It's probably Narvaez from a value perspective.
Those were the only two guys I got when I ran a bunch of lineups. So I have no problem if we need to get back up to Grandal.
I have no issue starting with Narvaez. $7 is $7. You can't really beat that kind of price tag. Does that make sense to you, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, Narvaez has been one of the better hitters in the Seattle lineup. On the year, 35% on base, 17% ISO, 28% average. So, I mean, he's having a really good season for a catcher, and he's not batting at the bottom of the order, and he's $7. So, you got to like it.
Absolutely. All right. Omar Narvaez is in the lineup now. Is there anybody else standing out to you, Alex? Immediate guys that need to be in a cash lineup.
I think Tommy Pham may be one of the top cash plays today.
Yeah.
I mean, great player for cash because he does it all with the steals and the power. So I think I definitely pencil him in there.
Yeah, no issues there. He showed up a lot in the cash crunch, picking up some ownership. One of the highest projected players on the slate. Hard to go wrong. He is $21, but I don't get the sense that we are going to have much problem with financials today. So, Tommy Pham, you've been locked and loaded. I think I need to figure out who's next. This one should be relatively easy. I assume you and I are on the same page, but let me pull up shortstops. Where's he hiding? How do we feel about Elvis Andrus at $9? Basically, the best of the not like everybody else is expensive. Is really the easiest way to say it. He is currently projected for 31% ownership. Also, the chalk play at short. Any issues with Elvis Andrus as the cash shortstop?
I don't mind it.
Not here. I mean, $9 for a guy batting high in the order with a 5-team total. That's a pretty good bargain.
Done. Elvis Andrus is in. 1 Mariner, 1 Ranger, 1 Ray. Jake, who's next?
Let's see. I'm trying to see where this guy is projected to lead off. Maybe Malik Smith. I know we don't want to take up too many of our outfield spots right away, but he's the guy that was coming up in a bunch of cash builds for me.
$11 seems to make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
No issue there. I mean, batting leadoff. Can't beat it, really. Alex Smith, then. Didn't expect to be getting to 2 Mariners out of the gate in my cash lineup today. But here we are.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, usually any game in Seattle is like a total avoid for hitters. But Trent Thornton, I mean, not the world's greatest pitcher. So I see the over-under in this game is 9.5, which is pretty high for Seattle. So I like it.
So we're slowly making our way through these lineups. How do we feel about Rhys Hoskins now? Potentially leading off for Philly, $14 first baseman. He is getting some ownership. Is he popping up for you, Alex?
Yeah, I think so. He really stands out on his team as great value where everyone else is priced 15 and up. and he's a guy that has a lot of power. Really good batter. And I think maybe he's been marked down because his performance hasn't been that great recently, but baseball, so I'm not really worried about that.
Perfect. So we still need a second baseman, a third baseman, and an outfielder, plus our second pitcher. We have $87 remaining for those 4 spots. Now might be the time to at least put a placeholder second pitcher in. Give us a little bit of a path for the remaining 3 hitters. It seems like Vince Velasquez is the guy here, unless we're going all the way down to Mitch Keller. But since he's not really owned, that seems like not the play. Would Vince Velasquez be the optimal SP2 at this point? Either way, Jake or Alex.
Go ahead.
I think we're going pretty cheap with all our picks so far, so maybe like we're gonna end up with extra salary at the end. But I mean, he's a great play today, so you can see how it works out.
Easy upgrade if we have to. It's easier to go up than down, I think.
Yeah.
What do I know? Second, third outfielder. We need 3 more spots. Jake, who stands out? I've got a couple guys that I have my eye on, but I'm curious if you're going the same direction.
Second base. I think for me, it's kind of between 2 guys. The guys I was getting to the most. Well, maybe like 3 guys. Adam Frazier is $9. He's the guy I got the most in my cash builds. Another guy I like, though, I think he's just too low for his talent and his place in the order is Whit Merrifield.
Yeah.
$13 against Plesac. So low implied total here for KC and not super favorable weather, but like power speed combo against Plesac. I think that's decent if we needed to spend up somewhere.
I have no issue going to Merrifield there. Only other guy that I would pitch would be Biggio instead of Merrifield. Similar projections. Biggio 1/10 of a point ahead in Alex's projections. Yep. $1 cheaper. I could go either way with that. Alex, break the tie. Cavan Biggio, Whit Merrifield.
Well, I think Merrifield is a much better player, right? So maybe we just go with him.
No problem here. Whit Merrifield is in. 2 spots to go. Third base and outfielder. We have $38 remaining. This should be pretty easy. We can pretty much spend whatever we want, which is always nice. Third base and outfield. So I've got a value guy that stands out to me.
For outfield or third base?
I have no idea. Third base.
Okay. Who is it?
Jake Lamb.
Oh, really?
A little bit.
Where's he at in the projections?
7.1, but flat minimum. We don't need the salary, so I don't get the sense that that's the direction we're going to go. We're probably more likely to be able to go to Machado at $11, Matt Duffy at 10, Moose Tacos at 15. I think we can go any direction there.
Did you mention Carpenter in there? You don't like Carpenter?
Carpenter?
Yeah, he's projected about 7th. Are you seeing that?
Yes.
So I guess that would be the issue. You want to get as many at bats as possible. Cardinals right now, your totals, Alex, have 5.3 implied runs. That's not bad. I don't know. It just depends on what we want to do here. There's a bunch of cheap options. Matt Duffy.
Yeah. Alex, give me a third baseman.
I think Carpenter, like, basically the projection I have for him is based on him batting 7th, and that seems like a worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Peter Lambert, pretty bad pitcher too, so I think that if he's 7th, like maybe you go for Duffy, but if he's higher in the order, then Carpenter for sure.
Nice.
Carpenter in, which means we need 1 outfielder. We have $28 to spend.
Wow.
There isn't a $28 outfielder on the entire slate, so we are certainly going to be able to make some upgrades.
Jorge Soler's not on the slate.
Most expensive person is $27. Nelson Cruz and Aristis Aquino.
That's crazy that he's $27.
Yeah, he should not be $27.
No, I think That's a pretty cold take, but one that needs to be said.
You mean he's not like as good as Mike Trout?
Yeah. That's my hot take. He's not as good as Trout. All right. Well, if you just look at expensive outfielders, if you just look at raw points, I think the guy that projects the best.
Chu?
No, Yelich.
Oh, you just mean like in general, overall number one is Yelich.
Yeah.
First guy that I looked at was Chu. He has the 8th highest projection for outfielders in Alex's model. He's at $14. The 7 guys that are above him are all over 20.
Yeah. So if we wanted to get to Chu and then spend up on,
we have $14 left over if we put Chu in.
We could always
Flaherty or Berrios.
Yeah, we can move up a pitcher very, very easily.
Nice.
Let's see. We have $50, so we can go to Berrios without any issue, and still have $3 remaining. Or go to Flaherty and start trying to upgrade elsewhere. Potentially Malik Smith, or maybe just Malik Smith.
Nice.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
We can get up to a $19 outfielder if we take Malik Smith out and go with Jack Flaherty, which would be enough to get to Austin Meadows for the Rays.
Who do we have at first?
Reese Hoskins.
Oh, okay.
Austin Meadows is one of our show's favorite players, so I don't hate him.
Meadows is in. I'm overruling everybody here just in case. So we've spent every dollar. We've got Jake DeGrom, Jack Flaherty, Narvaez, Hoskins, Merrifield, Carpenter, Elvis Andrus, Tommy Pham, Austin Meadows, Shin-Soo Choo. That feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Loaded at pitcher. I don't think that we made a single real concession at hitter. It's one of the stronger cash lineups I think we've built.
Yeah, that looks pretty good to me.
I'm a big fan of Austin Meadows since he donged for me last night. I didn't know you took Moncada. When you tagged everybody and you were like, Moncada dong, I was like, cool, man, cool. Then I looked at it and I was just like, oh, you took him. I didn't know why you were tagging me in it.
If I didn't take him.
I don't know. You Moncada guy a little bit?
Like, yeah, because I picked him.
Sure, but I think you're like a Moncada guy in general, though, no?
Yeah, I like guys who hit home runs at low ownership.
For you?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's good stuff.
Cash lineup in. Spent every single dollar. Now we get to play around. Make some real wild lineups like very obvious Tampa Bay Rays 6-man stacks. So
yeah. DeGrom, Flaherty, Tampa Bay stack, guaranteed to win your GPP.
There you go. With those kind of guarantees.
Guaranteed to tie with 12 other people.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could get first and tie. You're still first, though.
Yeah, that's true.
So do we want to build some GPP lineups?
We should just do it just to show everyone how easy it is.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. I don't know, the guy who are like must-haves. Pham, probably he was in our cash lineup.
Oh, we're talking for Tampa.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Or did you want to start
so if I just filter I ran 100 lineups. I got 26 6-man Rays stacks.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Aguilar, Adames, Duffy, and Brousseau are the top 4 guys that I got. Pham is 5th. But honestly, I basically got all of them always. So right. I don't think there's a wrong way to go here.
Yeah, so I don't know. You could just put those 5 in quick. Like, I don't think Tampa's that interesting to talk about on Yahoo just because they project so well that they're just going to get forced in a lot of the time as fillers and 6-man. If you're doing a 6-man on FC, they're going to come up.
So I do think it's one thing that we should touch on is the fact that they're not chalky. They have the 4th highest ownership.
Wow. Really? That's weird.
Additive, at least. 67% total across the 9 spots. I didn't, divide it out by batting order right now, but Either way, it's not as if they are like separating themselves from the pack, even though for us they have separated themselves from the pack.
Yeah, that's unusual. Usually, like the best teams are like super high owned, especially when they're great values. So we're interested to see if that holds up in our later updates.
Yeah, and it's not as if it's like an awkward game on the surface. It's the Rays against Baltimore in Baltimore against a terrible pitcher. It's not sneaky. I don't think that we're talking. They were incredible chalk yesterday. We're not like sneaking one in here. So we're just gonna start jamming in the top parts of this lineup.
Yeah.
So we've got Pham, we've got Meadows, Jesus Aguilar picking up quite a bit of ownership as well right now at 20. But there's only 3 guys in double digits: Pham, Meadows, Aguilar. So we can pretty much like whatever we're putting together at this rate is unowned.
I think it's really interesting because like there are a few plays that are like super high value and a few that are like priced up.
Yeah.
So Pham, Meadows, Darno, Adames are all like kind of priced about right. But then you have Aguilar and Duffy that are like super cheap. So I think it makes sense to kind of like spend up on some of the more contrarian guys if we're going this route.
That was about to be my next question. Do we want to spend up on Travis d'Arnaud for $19 at 6% ownership when Mike Zunino is there for $9, also unowned?
Oh.
Yeah. That might be a way to get a little bit different.
Neither d'Arnaud is at 6, Zunino is at 4, but we can save $10 here to make ourselves better at pitching, or make the 2 single one-off bats that we have after the 6-man be basically whoever we want. I like the idea of going to Zunino. Not that I'm not a fan of d'Arnaud.
I don't mind it. I'm looking at the one-offs you can get plus expensive pitching, and like it's some pretty cheap outfielders for the guys we have to force in if we want to get expensive pitching. So maybe we do pay down here and save that extra $10.
I put in Zunino, Aguilar, Duffy, Pham, and Meadows. Give me the 6th, Alex.
Pham and Meadows.
Let's see.
So no Adames, correct?
I don't have Willy Adames, Brosseau, Guillermo Heredia, and then d'Arnaud is dead to us since catcher's filled.
I'd probably go with Adames. I mean, not like the best value, but he's the lowest owned of the heart of the order.
Perfect.
Nice.
So we've got that 6-man stack in there. We have $116 left. I would say that we would want to get our first pitcher. We start with DeGrom, right? If this Rays stack is essentially unowned, Jake DeGrom's 50% ownership doesn't feel all that important.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think this might be a situation where, like, maybe on Yahoo people don't use the optimizer as much, but like people who do are like gonna all end up on this combination.
Okay.
So I wouldn't get too like carried away, like thinking we're being sneaky, but I think that it's still a good like combination for sure.
Maybe a spot to pay up to be contrarian for a lesser owned Lance Lynn, since we have a bunch of money left over.
I like it.
Okay. Well, that leaves us $63 to fill pitcher, second outfielder. Jake, give me our second pitcher.
Pitcher, second, and outfielder. Oh yeah, that's right. We have Meadows in there. Okay.
Do we want to go absolutely bonkers, slot Mitch Keller in here, and pay out the wazoo for a second baseman and an outfielder, and see what we can do?
Yeah, let's try that. Let's try Keller.
It'll look different, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we have $37 left for a second baseman and an outfielder.
All right.
I think we can get that done.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be okay there. Second base. Who did we say were kind of the premier plays? What, Merrifield?
Wow,
Frazier?
Jose Altuve is $26.
Dang.
So
that just feels wasteful.
Right. We could go to like Altuve Judge combo. You said 37, right?
Correct.
That would work. We could do Frazier Yelich would work.
I want to try to, I think, since nothing really stands out at second without, dropping into like the low numbers, it's I want to see who would we want that is just like a super high end outfielder.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's Chu again.
Right. That value is really difficult to ignore.
We don't need $23 at second base, so he becomes, a little bit less interesting. Max Kepler leaves us $17 at second.
Right, but then where do you go? Like, we're gonna leave salary on the table, I think, is the only problem. Do we have like a nice second base one-off for 16 or 17 here?
No. Colton Wong at 15 would be the quote-unquote nicest, I guess.
Yeah.
I think we're learning a lesson that we don't need Mitch Keller.
Yeah. we really don't. Especially if we're paying down for Zunino. Like, if we went up to Darno, maybe. But the guy at 17, did you say 17 left with Chu?
That sounds right to me.
Yeah. Gleyber Torres is 17, but he's up against Ryu in a tough matchup.
Yeah, if we put Chu in, we have $23. Max Muncy?
Muncy versus Paxton?
Not for $23.
Yeah, it's an overprice for sure. It's a pay up to be contrarian spot, but we're already being contrarian by getting Keller, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't have even noticed Muncy if he wasn't exactly $23 in that spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Someone in chat, Jimmy Bloomfield, that's our boy from earlier this morning. He pitched Trout Merrifield.
That's not bad. Not
bad
at all.
It's can't really go crazy on that one,
Trout's pretty good. Merrifield is good.
I've heard of him before, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Alex, what do you think? Trout Merrifield?
Yeah, I mean, I like it.
All right, let's load it in. I know that I'm going to click this right now and we're short $1 or something. Now we spent every cent. Lance Lynn, Mitch Keller. Hear that, Jimmy Bloomfield? Mitch Keller, not Dylan Cease. Mike Zunino, Aguiar, Duffy, Adames, Pham, and Meadows. 6-man Rays stack. 1 off Merrifield. 1 off Mike Trout. Let's get that paper. That's a winner right there. If we can, that's a very unique lineup given our ownership right now. I'm a fan. Nobody's really breaking free as like a very obvious chalk stack today. In the aggregate, the most owned team is the Rangers at 82. Like, normally we see some team that has 4 or 5 guys that have just been priced incorrectly. They get into like the 160% of ownership for that Friday spot. And we're sitting here like, how do we get 5 Rockies into this lineup? But now it's basically the exact opposite. There aren't any crazy spots, and we can kind of pick and choose where we want to go.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be Tampa when I was looking at the just who was coming up in my stacks. But if it's not going to be Tampa, then maybe there's an edge, a bigger edge than usual on Yahoo tonight.
Do we want to build one more before we get out of here?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do a spend up here, like
okay.
Astros, Twins, Brewers, maybe someone like that. Cleveland.
So the Brewers are the team that I got second most.
Let's try them.
I never have a problem taking the Brewers. I enjoy that stack tremendously.
Yeah, they look favorable position-wise too.
Yeah.
Only a couple. They've got 3 outfielders, but you're probably going to want Yelich for one of those spots. This one's going to depend on the lineup too. They've been unpredictable as far as where Grisham's batting. Right now, I think, Alex, your projection is probably based on him batting leadoff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it could be him or Kane batting leadoff. Regardless, you're going to get a $12 outfielder probably batting leadoff. So
yeah,
you're probably going to want that guy in there.
Okay. So let's put together the Brewers stack now.
All right.
We want Grandal. I can't imagine we don't.
For sure.
I can't imagine we don't want Christian Yelich, even though he's expensive. I think since we're going to want whoever of Grisham or Kane is hitting leadoff, I'm just going to put Grisham in there for now. But I think we're going with the same sort of idea. Moose Tacos at 15 is probably a pretty decent bargain. So those 4 to me are pretty easy. Who do we want as the final 2 guys? We have Grandal, Moose Tacos, Yelich, and Grisham.
Is the Brewers stack chalky?
No chalkier than the Rays, really.
Okay.
They basically have like one more guy that's slightly owned, but they only have 4 guys in double digits. Everybody else is at 5% or below.
Because Keston Hiura, I know he's probably a little overpriced, but if he's batting cleanup here, I can't imagine his ownership is very high.
No, it is not. 5%.
That might be a guy to stick in there.
And then Eric Thames at 11, righty lefty on Alex's best friend Merrill Kelly.
Seems about right.
6-man Brewer stack is in. We spent $95, so I think we need to grab our pitching here. It's not going to be a DeGrom day, or at least it doesn't seem it. Let's see if I got any of this lineup when I ran it. Grandal, Moose Tacos, Thames, Hera, Grisham, Yelich. I did get 2 of these when I ran my 6-man crunches. Tell me how you guys feel here. Jack Flaherty, James Paxton is 1 combination of pitching. Zach Plesac, Vince Velasquez is 2. I'm going to go ahead and say that we can swap out of Zach Plesac.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be playing much Plesac.
I can actually swap directly to Jose Barrios. That lineup had $8 left. So Barrios, Velasquez, we fill out with Willie Adames and Josh Reddick, but that's probably not necessary either.
Adames and Reddick? Yeah, Adames is 15, right?
Yeah.
So we could do something different there. What is Reddick at? Is he min salary? 15?
He is.
Yeah. So then we would have, 22 remaining?
We have $22 to fill out shortstop and outfielder if we go with Barrios, Vince Velasquez.
Okay. Is there a good combo there? Shortstop, do we have?
It's going to be Elvis Andrus again, I would imagine.
Yeah, Andrus. There's not really a pure punt, like min salary guy that we could get to. Man, we just miss on Chu then. The Texas. Well, I don't think we can do 6-2.
Well, what we can do is drop back down to Flaherty, which would unlock the Chu Andrews combo.
But I don't think we can do that. Can you? I don't think you can do 6-2. I could be wrong here. Don't you have to have hitters from 3 different teams, or am I making that up?
Is it hitters from 3 different teams or people from 3 different teams?
Yeah, okay. I'm trying to think of, because we tried to do a 6-man, I remember, with Martin Perez. So you might be right there. It might be just players from 3 different teams. I can go look this up quick.
All entrants must draft athletes from their lineups from at least 3 different teams.
Okay.
So we should be fine.
The pitchers. All right, cool. Then we could do a nice 6-2.
Let's see what it looks like. Andrews plus Chu, right? No. Who did we just say that it was going to be? Oh, we would drop down off of...
Drop from Barrios to Flaherty.
Right. I was like, now we don't have the money, so none of this matters. Bingo.
It's pretty nice.
Shin-Soo Choo in. Oh, we have $4 left.
I know. But we can't really upgrade a pitcher. I mean, if we wanted to do like a 5-3, maybe, if there was someone we wanted to get off of the Brewers, like if there was a brewer we needed to leave off or something.
One option is we could stack it up with Jordan Lyles, 5+ pitcher.
Let's see. Lyles. Oh. Do you like doing that? I can't remember if we've talked about this, correlating your pitchers like that with your stack.
On Yahoo, it's interesting because, like, since you can't get 6+ pitcher, maybe fewer people will have that combination.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we're dropping off of Velasquez to Jordan Lyles and then upgrading Keston Hiura? which isn't really much of an upgrade.
How much is left over?
We have $9 left right now, plus whoever we take out. We have to take out one Milwaukee guy. I mean, Eric, if we take Thames out, that gives us $20 for a first baseman. That
we
seems
could go
like
to Danny Santana and do 5-3.
We could do that.
Santana's
or it's either Danny Santana or Goldschmidt at 20 on the dot.
5-2-1. Yeah. Goldschmidt's also a decent option there.
Goldschmidt gets to take on. I mean, I like the idea of the 5-3 Milwaukee, Texas, Flaherty Lyles.
Nice. Yeah, it's not too bad. Let's see. Is there any first baseman we're kind of missing out on here? I don't really see
Max Boy Vogelbach is $8.
Vogelbach.
I don't think that's what we're looking for.
I'm reading chat here. I would have $6 extra, so it could get me. I don't know what that's in reference to. People talking about other sites, but
I put Danny Santana in, which leaves us $2 left over. I pretty much like that.
Yeah. I mean, all in favor of the 5-3 on any site you can do it on. So,
yeah, I'm a fan here.
Yeah, I like it.
Let's see here. Any other teams? What do we got? A couple more minutes left. Do we want to stack up one more team?
We've got 5 minutes left.
Okay.
We could just take a look at some of the stacks that showed up here. Look at the construction. Maybe flip it around a little bit in Fantasy Cruncher.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
So for people that don't normally use it, you can get an idea of what's here. So I switched to the Team Stacks tab, which shows me everybody that came up when I ran the crunch. I could just click this little magnifying glass on, let's just say, Toronto, and go straight to the 9 6-man stacks that I got from Toronto. But if we look at it, this first one is Jake DeGrom, Mitch Keller, 6-man Blue Jays, Marcelo Ozuna, Franmil Reyes, $3 left over. If you don't like Franmil Reyes in this scenario, there's a little circular, well, in theory it looks like a square, but it's 2 arrows pointing at
looks
each
like
other.
a recycling sign.
There you go. Thank you. I needed help. You can click that little recycling sign and recycle Franmil Reyes and turn him into other guys. And it will only give you guys that will fit in that salary, and it will sort that list in your projections from top to bottom. So you can make your swaps pretty easily by doing something like this. So we can drop down off of Ozuna, save a little bit of money maybe, or fill that money, switch to our boy Austin Meadows. That spends the entire salary. We just can't. Sometimes you just can't get enough Austin Meadows in your life, especially when he dongs for you. Great.
That's right.
I'm kind of interested in the St. Louis stack today. Have you guys looked at that one?
I got 11 of them. That was the third most I got of anything.
They were the third most for me as well. What does that look like for you, Josh? What are you getting with combos for pitching and stuff?
Number 1 lineup that came out was Lance Lynn, Jake DeGrom, which is really hard to be upset about considering that the 2 one-off spots are Rhys Hoskins and Elvis Andrus.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Is Bader in there? I'm guessing min salary.
Bader, Ozuna, Fowler, Carpenter, Wong, Hoskins, Molina. I don't know why I said Hoskins. Because they're both red on my screen. I totally read that via color.
Here's one for St. Louis. We've got no DeGrom. That's kind of the one downside, and then it's Fulte as the SP2 for $32. But you've got Yachty, Goldschmidt, Wong, Carpenter, DeJong, and then Bader. I think if you drop down from Fulte to Keller, and the one-offs are Yelich and Kepler, so pretty good there. Let's see. Then you'd have $14 remaining. You might be able to not quite Marcelo Ozuna there, but if you play around, you could probably upgrade Bader, drop down from Kepler to someone, and that looks pretty nice.
I got a Lance Lynn, Fulte, Molina, Goldschmidt, Wong, DeJong, Fowler, Bader with Cody Bellinger, Matt Duffy. So that seems like a really easy one to pivot off of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do like this Cardinal stack out. Who stands out to you most from the Cardinals before we get out of here?
I think maybe Dexter Fowler leading off, just because like our ownership projection for him is 0.3%.
Wow.
And if he is in like a good lineup spot, maybe it's just like pay up to be contrarian option.
Fowler showed up in a lot of these lineups. Leading off here against Peter Lambert, pretty easy. I swapped out Bellinger for Marcelo Ozuna. I swapped out Bellinger and Bader for Chu and Ozuna. That spent all of the money. Still kept that Lance Lynn, Mike Foltynewicz combo, but looks a little bit stronger there. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7.
That's nice.
But I love doing this in Fantasy Country, just making out a bunch of lineups, seeing what I like, swapping out an individual player or two, kind of doing a little bit of hand build on it, but still using the optimizer to do the generation. I think that's probably the best combination, especially on a site like Yahoo where you're only putting 10 lineups in. You could put a little bit of extra TLC on each lineup.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you could just like if you're only building 10 stacks and you don't want part of teams, like you could just select teams in your team stack bar.
Yep.
And just say, all right, these are the 4 or 5 teams I want to stack in my 10, and just try to get as many combos as possible. That's also something I've done on Yahoo.
Alex, any other final thoughts before we get out of here?
So thanks everyone for watching. I think today is going to be really interesting. Like keep an eye on our ownership projections, and the top stack tool, which is free, should be updated with our next run. So that'll be nice to see. Like, is this Tampa Bay stack going to be like sneaky somehow, or Milwaukee? Like, or are people going to flock to them once they kind of
watch our video?
Yeah.
Once everybody watches our video,
we're going to sway ownership. That's right.
That one lineup we made is probably going to tie like 14 ways for first.
Jake, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
I'll see you guys back at 6 Eastern with Chris Spags.
There you go. Again, thank you very much to Yahoo Sports for being the sponsor of this program. And again, as I announced at the beginning, you can stream live local and national NFL games this season for free, no matter what cell phone carrier you have, as long as you have the Yahoo Sports app. Those games will stream through the app. You cannot beat that. It's a really exciting piece of news coming from Yahoo, and we really want to get that message out. So get ready for week 1. If you want to stream some games, you can do it via your phone, and it won't cost you a cent. I will be back for the deeper dive in 2 hours and 45 minutes. So my recommendation, just sit in the chat and talk for 2 hours and 45 minutes, and then we'll be back.
That's right.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.